Welcome to Thursday's Zoom. I'm so glad to see you guys. It's been a very exciting week for me. And so I'm hoping to continue on the excitement. I think I'll be riding the grandma high for a while. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we're going to get into it. It's not a really long Zoom today. We're just going to be doing a small lecture on chapter 8. So here we go, share the screen. All right, so we're going to do our announcements first. If you haven't joined the new class that starts today, please do so. I'm going to send out another mass email. And guys, if some of you have joined, I'm not taking your names out if you've joined. I'm just going to go ahead and do, it's just easier to put everybody in there. And if you've already joined, then disregard. I'm going to keep module 152 open until tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Then I have to shut it because I have to do grades. So if you still have an assignments that you need to get done in module 152, go ahead and get those taken care of. And you know, today is Friday Eve, and I just want to say have a good weekend this weekend. But of course, we still have one more day of school, but I'm not going to talk to you tomorrow, so I'll tell you now while I'm talking to you. So let's get into chapter 8. It's going to be the introduction to the CPT. That is our gold manual. Okay, first thing that we're going to discuss is what is the purpose of assigning a code to a procedure or service? Well, it allows healthcare providers to communicate efficiently and effectively with the third-party payers, which is our insurance, right? About the services and procedures provided to their patients. Stop and think about for a minute if you had to send everything in words. Well, first of all, a computer is not going to capture words the way it will numbers or alphanumeric codes. So say that I go to the doctor. I'll use my doctor that I went to my doctor's appointment yesterday. So I go into the doctor. I'm having a med change. I'm having a lab consult. I'm having to redo labs. You know, you can't type all of that into your insurance, into your claim form, right? So the reason that we use these codes is it's a more effective way to communicate and make claims be processed quicker. CPT and HCPCS codes. Okay, so what are HCPCS codes? Your HCPCS manual is the little purple manual that y'all got. You got a 3-pack. The ICD-10, the HCPCS, and the CPT. We'll be touching on the HCPCS a little bit, and that's durable medical equipment. That's things like potty chairs that go at the bedside, or a shower chair, or a wheelchair, or even the IV and the IV post. Those are hospital beds, things like that. That's durable medical equipment. CPT and HCPCS codes are used to identify procedures, services, supplies, drugs delivered as part of a patient's care. The diagnosis codes provide the diagnostic justification for the delivery of these services. So CPT codes, procedure codes, current procedural terminology. CPT codes are what we're doing. This is what we're doing for Abigail. This is what we're doing for Holly. This is what we're doing for Miss Marcia. ICD-10 codes, diagnosis codes are why we're doing the procedures, right? You can't just go into the doctor and he can't just say, oh, she just came in to say hi. There has to be a medical reason documented, an accurate medical reason documented of why you need to be paid for that visit. So, do you guys remember who developed the ICD-10? Who? That's right. Who developed the ICD-10? Well, the CPT manual was developed by the AMA in 1966. This is important. It is updated every November to be ready to be put out and used on January the 1st. So the update for the CPT happens every November, and it will be put into use as of January the 1st. The CPT manual is divided into 3 categories: Category 1, Category 2, and Category 3 codes. And we'll get into what each one of those mean. Okay, we're going to talk about what are the 6 main divisions of Category 1 of the CPT. So everything that you see here is Category 1, which is our bulk of our CPT. Most of our CPT codes are Category 1. There's going to be evaluation and management, which I say E&M codes. There's anesthesia, surgery, radiology, path and lab, and medicine. Now, I'm going to tell you, the very last chapter, chapter 11, that's in this module is evaluation and management codes. It is my very favorite. I love evaluation and management. So I think I said this on one of my little, when we were talking on yesterday, that I said, I'm going to be giving you some tips, and maybe sounds like silly things to do, maybe through your CPT, but I'm going to tell you, please, 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 when I tell you to do something or I give you a tip, apply it, because as silly as it may sound when I tell you to do it, it is going to make sense when you start coding. So here's some examples of types of CPT codes. You have medical, surgical, diagnostic services, and anesthesia. Anesthesia is also fun to code. So we're going to talk a little bit again about how codes are used for processing claim payments. Codes inform the payers which services and procedures were performed. Codes become the basis for payment of claims submitted. Codes are unambiguous way to communicate. Codes are used to communicate with your third-party payer so that your doctor can get paid. Codes expedite claim processing for faster reimbursement to the providers. And I just talked about that. They can use the computers to grab those numbers, where a computer system is not really going to grab the words. They want those codes, and each code equals the words. Correct coding is essential. We're going to talk about what are the consequences if you don't have, if you're not coding correctly. Failure to code correctly could result in overpayment, underpayment, or denial of a claim. In addition, fines, imprisonment, or both. And the financial consequences to a medical practice for incorrect coding can be substantial. It is the coder's responsibility to ensure that coding is applied accurately and that error-free claims are submitted to the third-party payer. Okay, now this seems really scary when you're looking at fines and imprisonment or both. Have to tell you that if you're doing something that's fraudulent, of course that's a risk. But as a biller, a coder, a front office person, whatever you're doing, you're not going to get it 100% right every time. So I want you to understand that this doesn't mean that everything you send out must be perfect. It's never going to happen, right? We're not perfect. But if you're fraudulently sending in claims, you're going to get, there's the law, you have to pay attention to the law. It's against the law to do anything fraudulent. And I'm just going to give you a little example of that. It's been about 10 years or so that there was a huge Medicare fraud case where a man had he went and rented a huge warehouse, and he was stealing Medicare information from elderly people. And he was sending in claims for durable medical equipment and getting paid for it. But if you walked into that building, it was an empty warehouse. That's fraudulent, right? He went to prison because he was getting paid based on fraudulent claims. So that, of course, that's a bit aggressive. That's not going to happen to us, but that's more what they're talking about. You have to just be as accurate as possible. Okay. Who uses CPT codes? Clinics, hospitals, rehabilitation units, ambulance services, long-term care, wherever healthcare services are provided. And I'm going to add one more to this. Even the prison system uses CPT codes. So we're going to talk about code ranges, and you don't have to write this down. This is actually in your book, but I'm just going to tell you that if you kind of remember, like, for example, I know that evaluation and management starts with 99 all the time. If you see a 99 code, it's an evaluation and management code. Anesthesia codes always start with 0. Surgery, you're going to see a big jump. It starts with 1 and then ends in 69990. The surgery section of your CPT is the largest, but it has everything like the integumentary system, the cardiovascular system. It has all the individual systems in there. Radiology are 7s, pathologies are 8s, and your medicines, we have another 9, but it's 9 zeros. But at the end, we do hit 99 again. So, but that is the breakdown of your code ranges. I just thought the little girl looked cool. Doesn't have anything to do with what we're doing, but I was like, that looks kind of cool. I don't know. So this is something that I need you to pay close attention to. Remember, whenever we did the ICD-10 and you looked in your guidelines in the very front, it told you what all the signs and symbols are. Well, again, the same thing with the CPT. If you look in the front of your book, it's going to tell you what the symbols are. We're just going to go over 3. A bullet point, which is a solid circle, indicates a new procedure. Every year, medical advances are coming up and they're putting those new procedure codes in. So when you see a big dot, that means that's a new code. Is that really going to affect you in any way? No, but when you've been coding for 10 years and you get your new CPT manual, you may not know what to look for until you're in there looking for something and you're like, oh, that's a new code. Triangle indicates the code description has changed because, again, with medical advances, sometimes they're going to update some descriptions. And then the facing triangles, enclosed or new or revised text. So those are revised codes. So not a real big deal, but just to kind of give you some information on that. All right. Now, who remembers the accurate coding steps? Because we're going to go over them again. So the very first thing, we have to review the complete medical documentation. Can we do that in class? No, because what they give us like 2 or 3 lines and we're supposed to know what all of it means, right? But when you're working your real job, you're going to need to review the complete medical documentation. You need to abstract the medical procedures from the visit documentation. What does abstract means? It means you're going to read your documentation and you're going to pull out what you need. 3, you need to identify the main terms for the procedure. Locate the main terms in your index. Verify the code in the CPT main text. And then 6, determine if it needs a modifier. Now, modifiers we're going to go over in the next couple of chapters, but that is our correct coding steps for CPT coding. Do we always just look at the index and get a code and quit? No, we always do what? We code what? 2 ways. Pull it from our index, then we check it in the tabular. Although I know I spoil you guys sometimes because I code our stuff before, and sometimes I'm like, we don't have to go back and look. I've already checked it. It's the right thing. So that is our lecture for today. Nothing crazy, right? Nothing long. I do want to warn you, it will get longer. But right now, we're just at the very introduction, right? One of the things that if you have not, that I want you to begin to work on is I want you to get your CPT manual tabbed. I want you to get your HCPCS manual tabbed. And what I mean by tabbed is I want you to go in and I want you to tab where your modifiers are. In your CPT manual, you have your front cover. If you turn over your front cover, you have a list of modifiers there. Don't let it blow your mind. I promise you, you're going to understand what it is when we start putting it all together. Remember, coding is like a puzzle, one piece at a time. We went through the ICD-10 codes. Now we're going to talk about why we do the things that we do when we have those diagnoses. So, do we have any questions?
I have some questions, but it's not about this though.
Okay, well, just share with us anyway.
Um, that final exam that we had just took that was due, I think is due tonight or tomorrow. Um, After you had took it or whatever, like they give you an option or whatever to review the answers that was wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
And on the questions when they had asked to list the ICD codes, I had did all my codes right or whatever, but I didn't capitalize the first letter and they marked them all wrong.
If you go back and look at your score, I have updated your score for you.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't, they're so case sensitive. Even if you
Where
put,
do we find the
huh? What, Sean?
where do, where do we find the exam? I didn't see. Did I already?
Well, I don't know, girl. Hang on. I'm going to go ahead and stop our recording.